After match week 1 is halfway through, I think it's time I do my final Premier League predictions for the 2026-27 Premier League season. Arsenal being champions, to Tottenham being up there, to maybe teams like Crystal Palace and Fulham near relegation contenders. Hope you're going to enjoy this video. It's guys from Last to Record. Always remember to smash that subscribe button to the flipping channel, and let's get into this one. So my team's in relegation. I've gone with some big calls. Rock bottom, Hull City. Of course, they did beat Manchester United today 2-0 at home, which is a massive result for them. The first time they've beaten Manchester United in the league since 1974. And fair enough to them. Congratulations. It is an amazing result. But one result ain't going to change a whole season, is it? You get it what I did there? Whole season? No. I still think they'll finish rock bottom. I just look at their squad. I don't see a lot of quality in Hull City. I barely even know any of their players, to be honest with you. I think rock bottom is fair for Hull City. You know, they finished 6th in the Championship. Of course, got the playoffs. And of course, a lot of the controversy between Middlesbrough and Southampton, they got quite lucky. And I think Middlesbrough were very focused on what happened with Southampton when they actually went out in the semi-finals, but got to the final to face Hull. So I think there was a lot of distractions going on, which gave Hull the advantage. And do I think Hull are a really good Premier League team? No. I think, of course, the fans are really up for it today. And it's another reason why they beat Manchester United. Manchester United were terrible today as well. But rock bottom for Hull, I think, is fair. 19th, Coventry. I saw their squad against Arsenal. And I understand Arsenal are the champions. To go to the Emirates is never, ever easy. But Coventry did not look anything special to me. Their squad looked slow. Ella Sims up top. Looks like he can't put a strike away for his life. He's not getting fed any opportunities at the front line, and I think it's just going to be a struggling season for goals for Coventry. And I really first did say they were going to survive, but I think it looked like they could be going down, and they don't look like the most, highly chance out of the 3 newly promoted teams to stay up now. 18th, I've gone for a big call, and I hate to say it because they are my local team, Crystal Palace. I watched them versus Everton today. They were dreadful. They were genuinely dreadful. Ismaila Sarr, one of their key players last season to their Conference League win, wants to leave. He's pushing his way out of the club to go to Galatasaray. Jean-Philippe Mateta wants to also push his way out of the club, saying there was something wrong, and he's going to FIFA, talking about his contract in the last couple of months, something about them lines. Of course, they still could be losing Daniel Munoz, their right back, which would be a big loss. Adam Walton has got a lot of interest by Manchester City, of course, after they've lost a lot of midfielders this summer. And I think Palace just don't look all that this season. Their defence looks a little bit after losing Maxime Lacroix to Chelsea. I don't see the quality. When they've got a front 3 of Eddie Nketiah, Mateta and Dwight McNeil, it is lacklustre. And I think Palace will sadly go down this season. After their, miraculous FA Cup victory and UEFA Europa Conference League victory in the last 2 seasons, I think that fairy tale is over for Crystal Palace. All right, there's a lot of teams here, so how about we just quick fire it. 17th, Ipswich. Ipswich Town stay up on the final day to relegate Crystal Palace and have a miracle staying up at Portman Road, which would be absolutely incredible for them. And I think they looked really good against Sunderland today. And I think if they do that all season, they would 100% stay up. 16th, Nottingham Forest. I really thought they'd do much better, but I still think they'll be down there. Their squad really looks thin, and Oliver Glasner looks like he could struggle in as Leeds dominated Forest today. 15th, Fulham. I don't really rate below, I'll be honest. I think Fulham are quite lacklustre still. I don't think they're at the quality to be up the top. I think they'll have a bit of a drop-off this season compared to last. 15th, still mid-table, it is Fulham. 14th, Newcastle United. It's a long process under this new manager. New squads are losing the likes of Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali, Gordon, and a couple more. 14th place is probably realistic for Newcastle, as it's going to take a while to get back to the European places. 13th place, their bitter rivals, Sunderland. European football hurts. 13th is still decent for Sunderland. Their first season was incredible, finishing 7th, and I think they'll try and put focus on Europe, but their squad depth, is quite thin, so I think 13th place is fair. 12th place, Leeds United. They'll have a decent campaign, finishing around the mid-table spot. I think they're a strong team, 100% safe this season. They will not get relegated. Strong team. Leeds United got a good squad, and they will be near that top 10 spot. 11th, Everton. Everton are a strong team. If they have good home form, they show today, they can easily beat their mid-table rivals like Crystal Palace. If Crystal Palace are mid-table this season, they can definitely finish in the high mid-table. They finished 13th last season. 11th is realistic. Possibly a European fight? Well, we have to see. 10th, Bournemouth. I did really underestimate them, and a lot of people think Bournemouth could go down. I think that's stupid. Bournemouth still look an incredible side, and I 100% think Bournemouth could be up there once again. Do I think they get Europe finish 6th this time? No. European football, of course, will eventually get to them. But 10th place is still amazing for Bournemouth. European football is massive for them. But 10th place is still fair. I didn't realise how quick I was going. I went so fast in that. I'm so sorry for that. I wanted to get through it. It's late at night. I'm trying to get these out as fast as I can. 9th place. We're going on to the top 10 properly now. Brentford, UEFA Europa Conference League football, and you'll see why. Brentford qualified for Europe for the first time in their history, finishing ninth, qualifying for the Conference League to represent England in European football, one of the biggest accomplishments. Beating Tottenham Hotspur 3-0 on the first day, a massive result, and their home form is excellent. If they keep up the consistency, Brentford can 100% finish in the European spots. 8th, same like last season, Brighton, but qualifying for the UEFA Europa League for the second time in their history. Brighton win the UEFA Europa Conference League this year, which they originally would have been in again if they didn't win it, but they will win it this year, meaning if they finish 8th, they get Europa League football, getting that extra Europa League spot to make sure they are not in the Conference League for another year. An amazing thing for Brighton, their first ever proper trophy and a European trophy to go with it that will be showcased for many, many years at the Amex Stadium. For still quite a small club like Brighton, it would be a massive, massive accomplishment. 7th place, Aston Villa, of course the champions of the Europa League right now. I just think their squad, they've lost a lot of players, and I think they'll drop off a bit. 7th place is still a decent finish for how much they've lost. Europa League football, they guarantee European football once again. I think they just lost a lot this summer, and I think there's still players injured, and I think eventually with Champions League football to consider as well, I think they'll eventually catch up to Villa. I don't think it's going to be an easy campaign. I think they'll be near the Champions League spots going into the run-in, but I think eventually a couple of dodgy results away from home will mean they'll drop off a bit and finish 7th place, above Brighton by a bit in my opinion, but to secure Europa League football. 6th, quite a hot take because they think they're going to finish, or people think they're going to finish quite high, Manchester United in 6th place right now for Europa League football. I don't see the hype around Man United. Of course, we saw a Hull today. They lost 2-0 away to 6th place championship material, really, Hull City. And they looked dreadful. It looked like they couldn't get anything right. They couldn't string a pass. I think Man United are not going to be good this season. Europa League football, they guarantee Thursday nights. Of course, they want to say they want to get number 21 this season. That ain't happening, let's be honest. 6th place I think is realistic. I think it's an alright finish. I think their attacking force ain't good enough. Their squad depth is really thin. They ain't got a lot of players to compete in the Cups, the Champions League, and of course they manage the Premier League as well, where they want to go really good and finish up the top of the table. But, you know, Carrick came in 1 game a week, didn't have any cups to think about, but now he's got 4 competitions to think about. And it's going to get interesting now to see what happens to Manchester United. Can they balance it, or will eventually break them down slowly, meaning they drop down the table one by one? Champions League spots. Let's do it. Let's get it interesting. 5th place, my club, Tottenham Hotspur, to finish 5th and just qualify for Champions League football this season. Of course, I'll always be biased. I know coming off a 3-0 loss at Brentford at G-Tech, it's not a good look for us, let's be honest. But I think we'll bounce back this season when the signings kick in of Omar Marmoush, Savinho, Sandro Tonali, possibly Cody Gakpo from Liverpool, Mateus Fernandes, Van Hecke, Senesi, many more. You know the rest. 5th place for Tottenham is realistic, and I think Tottenham could definitely win the FA Cup this year if they push. I'm not going to say the cups for this video. I think that's for a different video, let's be honest. Probably halfway through the year we'll talk about it. But, you know, the Champions League qualification would be amazing for Tottenham this year to get back in Europe and getting back in Europe's finest competition, the Champions League. 4th place, Liverpool. It's an improvement from last year. You know, of a weakened squad this year. They ain't got much squad depth. But 4th place would be a decent finish. Wrapping up Champions League qualification would be a massive thing for Liverpool. They do not want to finish outside that top 5. And to finish 4th, probably comfortably over Spurs. Let's be honest. Liverpool qualify for the Champions League once again. And, you know, the new era under Andoni Iraola starts now. 3rd place, Chelsea. Their squad looks good, I will be honest. And I don't like Chelsea, you know this, but I really rate Xabi Alonso as manager. I think he'll take Chelsea places. 3rd place this season's really good, and I think Chelsea could go far in one of the cups, 100%. 3rd place is decent, and I think they will challenge Man City for that 2nd place spot, which we're going to get onto in a second. I think they'll finish 3rd, just behind Man City in 2nd place. But Chelsea look strong, you know. They look like they've got a really strong squad. Keeping Enzo Fernandez, signing the likes of Morgan Rogers, Lacroix to improve the defence, replacing Cucurella with Chaveria. You know, they've got more signings coming in. They've, of course, you know, there's talk about João Pedro being that real number 9 this season, because he was kind of getting played a more attacking mini striker at the same time. If Cole Palmer gets back to his best, yeah, they're strong. They've got strong defence, strong midfield, and a somewhat strong attack. 2nd place, Manchester City. This is still not guaranteed, but right now, with the other quality in the league, it's not the best. So 2nd place for Man City. They're nowhere near the league. They'll be nowhere near it. I think they'll be nearer to 3rd place in the league, if we're being realistic. But they wrap up Champions League qualification for the season, for another consecutive season to compete in the Champions League. I don't think City will be at their best. I think it'll be very similar to last season. A lot of inconsistency. Probably in that mid-70 to high 70 point range, maybe early 80s at best, if that's a stretch. I think that's what it will be. There's not much to say about City. They've lost nearly 10 players this summer and only signed 2, losing a lot of depth to try and challenge in all 4 competitions, it's not going to be easy. First place, the champions, once again, I hate to say it, it's Arsenal. Arsenal look the best team. They look so strong this season. Look at the depth of Arsenal. It's disgusting how much depth they've got and how good the depth is. Ezri Konsa, Christian Solis, of course. They've got other players that look really, really good. Bruno Guimaraes from Newcastle is a very, very good signing. They've just signed so much depth where they can make sure that they can rest even if a player gets injured, where they've had problems a lot in the past, and that has been the reason why they've not, captured the league off Manchester City multiple times. But this season, it'll be a second consecutive season for Arsenal to win the league, and I think Arsenal could hit the 90-point range. I think it could be like a 10-point gap with Man City. I think there's such difference between the quality of sides, which we saw at the Community Shield final in Wales last weekend. Arsenal look so strong. They saw that on Friday night against Coventry, and I think it stays that way for the rest of the season. Hate to say it, but that's how it's going to be. What do you lot think? Is Spurs too high? Is Man United too low? Is Palace relegation controversial? Will Arsenal retain the title? Well, drop your predictions down below. I'd love to hear them. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you lot soon. Goodbye, guys.